Hey guys, welcome to the iPPi Insider. We're here with Matt Giggs, good friend of mine and serious operator in the UK. Matt has over 18 years, Matt, am I wrong? Experience?
20
years.
Over 20, 24 years in agency now.
And not a grey hair in sight, so he must be
Well,
doing something right.
hang on. No, it's been, 24 years.
Great. So, yeah, guys, so Matt is over in the UK with multiple different branches. I had the pleasure of spending a good bit of time with Matt over in the US and going up to him in St. Neots. Brilliant mentor, motivator, keeps the people at the front of the brand, and great person to give a follow on. So, Matt, how are you today?
I was just nodding away then I realised I looked like a right, nodding away. Yeah, I am. I'm all of those things. That wasn't actually what I was. That wasn't actually what I was nodding at. But no, it's lovely to hear those words, buddy. And it's great to be. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
Great. So Matt, how's all on the front of, let's say, estate agency? Let's touch on the estate agency side first, and then we can go into the mentor mindset.
Yeah. So estate agency. Well, it's busy, isn't it? Right. All you're hearing across the board is everyone's kind of patting themselves on the back at the moment. Everyone's getting really like, oh, look how many I've sold. Record months here, record months there. The market's going nuts. That's what I'm seeing in the UK. I'm not so much in tune with the Ireland marketplace. I certainly see that across the country over in the UK. In our business, it's no different. Let's take St. Neots, the operation that we started 8 years ago at Giggs & Co. And that was my first business as a business owner. They sold 30 in June. And 30 in June is kind of what you'd want as a normal marketplace. And coming out of lockdown, or not even quite out of lockdown, doing that was incredible. We kept the tap on in our business throughout lockdown. Whilst furlough was a scheme that everybody jumped onto, it just felt to me like that was too easy to do. We decided to leave around 40% of the team working. And I say working, they probably never worked as hard. I think a lot of them are still in recovery at the moment, because they threw everything into the 3 months, just conversations, helping people during that period, not to sell, not to pitch, but just to connect. And I don't know about you, Ken, but one of the things that you sometimes, when it's busy, you lose the quality of the conversations, and they get replaced by busyness and being active. And actually, if you're like me, helping people is genuinely what you're trying to do. And actually, during lockdown, we had the most amazing calls, conversations. We built up our database of buyers and sellers, and really started to understand that we were the only ones making the call in our marketplace. We were the only people. Like, what are you doing? Are you open? Are you available? We're just working remotely, just touching base. But that really worked. We sold instantly. It's 40 properties in lockdown in that initial 2 months, which was 40 more than I thought we were going to sell, if I'm being honest. It was panic stations at the end of March, looking at the whole business, the group, all of the agencies, and sort of going, wow, there's 1 million lost in the next 12 months easily. And we're not a huge group. And then realizing actually doing what we did and keeping the tap running, keeping the conversations going, has allowed us to make quarter one of this new tax year a really successful quarter.
Congratulations on that.
It was looking really scary, like massive losses and everything else. And I think the whole market realised that the government supported their businesses with different things and different schemes, but not relying on that, relying on conversations and probably what I'd consider to be the old way of operating served us really well.
So in terms, you touched on a topic there, I'd like to go in a little bit deeper of that transition of the period that you were selling those, let's say, 30 properties. Were you focusing in the business, or were you focusing on the business?
Myself,
and the team for
okay. So first of all, I was one of the ones that remained in the business working, and I was actively, almost like back into conducting the orchestra, if you like. We're all on Zoom every morning and then every evening, and talking about what we were going to do that day and who we were going to help and everything else, and then catching up at the end of the day, light-hearted Zoom calls, trying to make the most of the everyone was having different tasks assigned, and it was totally immersed back in. Do you know what? It's a really good question. Let me tell you why that was. Because having been away from the front line for such a long time, which sounds crazy when I only built the business 8 years ago, I came away from the front 2-3 years into business, started to leverage myself away, which was great, which meant that, I've gone from doing 100% of the valuations to 50% to 20% to nothing. And then literally having a team of people working around me doing those things. But going back in lockdown, I almost got in. I was like, guys, why are we not dealing with it like this? Why are we not having these conversations? Why haven't you asked them that question? And it wasn't training. Well, it was training, but it was just like, maybe we've lost something here. Maybe my business isn't as good as I thought it was. Maybe my people aren't as skilled as I was hoping, maybe assuming that they were. And that's not to disregard the team at all. It's my own responsibility to make sure that we check in on these things a lot more regular. So what I did was, being in, to answer your question, has helped me to now work on the right areas of our business going forward.
And that's really crucial, isn't it, to how you feel that? Because that's an emotional feeling that you will then put out to the guys in your team, and that's that will enable them to communicate with vendors and sellers and purchasers in the way they see you doing it from the front. So that's pretty impressive to hear that, and so openly spoke about as well, because there's not a lot of. I spoke to a fair few business owners over the last couple of months, and not a lot will tell you those, let's say, mistakes they might have made, or because no one wants to talk badly about themselves. Let's be frank, speak frank about it. In terms of the challenges your team would have had to face, Matt, what was the biggest challenge you would say you've overcome?
Okay, well, there's the biggest challenges for the guys in the business was working like this and spending all their time on a mobile phone, trying to find ways of making something happen, right? You would ring more people who would say, well, look, I'm just going to hold fire. I'm going to see what happens. Don't forget 3 months ago, or just 3.5 months ago, no one was being furloughed. There wasn't the support. The government hadn't announced a lot of things at that point. There was bags of uncertainty, right? Loads of uncertainty, which meant conversations with Kenny, who's a buyer, were, well, what are we going to, I don't know, this is a moment in time. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know about my job, let alone whether I want to buy a house. So getting the guys to really focus on the reasons why people were looking, and actually establish with the people that those needs were still needing to be met. So you're still going to need to move. Great. Will you be looking to move in the next 6 months? If the right house that fits your needs comes along? Yeah, absolutely. Or are you going to be looking further down the line? I'm going to wait till things settle off. So a lot of the challenges they had, which a lot of them have never had. Mm. You're going back to 2008 now, when 12 years ago, when you had agents that had never dealt with stuff before were dealing with a situation they'd never been faced with, which was a declining marketplace. This wasn't that obvious, right? This is a pandemic. It felt like the pause button had been pressed on the marketplace and everyone was told to go home. I was then telling my guys, don't go home, but yes, some of you are going to need to stay at home and not work. But you guys, I'm picking you out especially to do this job, which I want you to do, and that's to just talk to people, actually go and help people, go and pick up groceries, go and drop them off, do everything you can to work in our community and talk about marketing, right? What great marketing. In the nicest possible way, you've got really solid guys that want to help people, freely helping people without any targets, any goals, any agenda. Just go and help people. If that means they want to get a video of a property, great. If they want to make an offer on a property, great. If you want to revisit an offer they made back in March, let's talk about that. If they want us to go and get something for them, it was like a free rein and time to go and have great conversations. But the challenges were, I suppose, that the fear of what are people going to say to me if I'm going to be talking to them in this pandemic. And actually, people wanted to talk. That's what we found. And it was like a, shit, this is what we should be doing all of the time. Yes, it's great doing Facebook posts, it's great being on Instagram, it's great taking nice pictures of ourselves in houses, it's great doing these things. But we made every sale ourselves. Not one sale was made through a portal directly. Here we go, thanks very much, off we go, we've got a deal. It was total creativity. And it's just, that's what I said about going back to doing the basics really, really well.
And the basics that you would have built your business upon, you went back there and you revisited it, and then realized that, shit, we have to hit the nail on the head here as to what Matt Gigs was built on, and what Gigs and Company, for the vision that you're trying to put to your own employees. That's a really great point, Matt. In terms of the marketing, the planning and the activities of what you went through, what fundamental basics, let's just say 3 fundamental basics, could you pinpoint now as to allowing you to do those 30 sales?
Social proof. So they talk about that a lot. Social proof is showing people that you can buy today, you can agree a sale, and social proof that transactions are happening. They've just taken a lot longer, and here's the process, right? Because I still get asked today. I had a guy turned up, changed the tyre of my car on the drive today, and he said, so are you guys back open yet? Well, I think we've probably had 100 posts in the last God knows how many months saying that we're open and we're doing business. And this guy obviously doesn't see them. So people's assumptions are you're not in business, you're not working. You're like the rest of the world, taking, sitting in the garden drinking gin. And it wasn't that at all. We were literally doing the work. So we just showed the work we were doing, Ken. From changing boards to, talking about clients that were viewing properties in February. We've managed to help them type a deal on a house, and all of these different things, the most obvious real stories we were sharing, making sure people knew that actually the market was just on pause. I was doing very basic things like Zoom calls with local business owners. So we were engaging with our marketplace as well as the buying and selling market. We were engaging within our communities, identifying local businesses that people are very fond of, talking about what those businesses were doing during lockdown. So you know what? There's so many things you get thrown at the moment. I think we're all under this paralysis of information all the time, and a lot of the time just makes you not do anything productive. You can fly through a day, and if I asked a lot of people to say, what did you actually do today? What did you do? And they struggle to answer that question. In lockdown, you didn't. Everyone knew what they were going to do at the start of the day. At the end of the day, we were going to follow it up. Best thing we did, because they knew there was no wriggle room. We had to do this. Otherwise, we put them on furlough, right? Let's just go and sit at home, right? Do personal development for the next 3 months, and we'll give you a shout when we're ready. It wasn't that. We made some big decisions. I hate making, the hardest thing, Ken, is I hate hurting people, right? I want to help people. I love helping people. That is me. That's what I do. So telling people they're going to get made redundant is awful. That's the worst thing I could ever do. People that I care about, that they're just not going to fit into the way we're going now. The direction's changed in 3 to 6 months. It's totally, with the kind of people we've got, the kind of way we're going to work's changed. It's gone. We've remapped our business over 3 months. We are going to be going forward with certain people, certain structures, and we're going to create estate agents again in the Gigs Group. Rather than, I'll tell you what, you pick up the phone, book a viewing, and go and do a viewing. You give that offer to somebody else, they tie it up. You go out, do the valuation, you go and list it, give it to admin, blah, 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 blah. 5 or 6 different points. Oh, there's sales progression. You do. It started to get really messy. So I want to teach these guys who are on the front line to be real estate agents. Okay. Now, I mean real, not as in the realtor situation. I mean real estate agents. They can list, sell, progress. They keep the relationship with the customer, and they are the point of call. They are the go-to. And we're way off of that still. We've got a handful in the group that I would say, yes, they're there, or they're able to do all of those things. But we've got a long way to go. So yeah, it's exciting times. It just feels like I've had that kick up the arse. COVID's come about. It's made me go, we were totally going in the wrong direction. We've slashed costs, which I think everyone's had to do. Back office, obviously, the big part of that is reducing down our back office functionalities, luxuries, if you like, and putting your foot down on the gas on the things that really make a difference to your customers.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You made that point about, kind of being the advocate in the area. And I was just thinking back to when I came down to you then in St. Neots and we went for a coffee. It was as if you built that relationship with people within the area.
I tried to establish, does he know about it? Like, obviously, you're known in the area, but you're known as an estate agent.
Yeah.
And people have a tendency sometimes to forget that,
And it's crazy how an epidemic allows us to realize the things that actually put us in the position we're in today.
100%. And I think sometimes, you get so caught up in the bigger visions and you're trying to, and when you're an achiever, one of the biggest dangers you've got is you focus on the summit. You're so focused on, I want to get to this place. Over the last 2 or 3 years, I've cooled that down. I've been very much trying to, yes, I need to know where I want to go, but I need to do certain things really well for us to get there.
Yes.
Totally.
Process rather than vision's great, but if you don't have a process and system, you're right. Sorry to interrupt you.
Don't. You've interrupted me brilliantly, because it made me realise that it sounds like, oh, Matt, you've done all this stuff, and I wouldn't have done it if this new lady who joined me on March the 20th or whatever it was, my biggest hire, my operations director, my executive coach for my mentor clients, right? She phoned me up the day before. She was just leaving her 11-year job, HR director, high salary, highly thought of. They just said to her, look, you stay, we'll pay you more. And that kind of person. She's phoned me up, taking a pay cut, by the way, because she believes in what we're going to be doing. She's phoned me up and said, Matt, is this the right time? I want to come in, but I need you to tell me if you want to hold fire for a year, so you can literally, not even a moment, Ken, not even 1 second did I hesitate. Why? Because she is the right person for this vision. If she didn't come in, all of the above that I just mentioned to you, 80% of it wouldn't have happened. Why? Because she asked me the questions, she challenged my vision, she's challenged me around the kind of people that are going to get us to where we want to go. And, with now, I've changed my vision, which is amazing, because she's come on board and given up a hell of a lot to come on board, but she knows what this is going to bring. Her new goals are around her being the MD of the group.
Brilliant.
That's how much of a difference she's made in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. And the process is what you're talking about. She's an implementation person, right? She's got great people skills, but if we're going to do it, she'll make sure it gets done. While Matt Giggs, vision, talks get people to come along. And then, week in, it's still going, 2 weeks in, it's just going, month in, who's forgotten? Yeah, is that what we said we were going to do? How we were going to do it? So it's okay having the ideas, but you need someone to bring it to life, which is
brilliant point. Brilliant point. It is the process, and that hit me 2 weeks into lockdown when I was down the country, and it was actually this podcast that kind of brought me to talking to more people. I was like, how can I talk to the people I know within the industry? What can I do? Give me an idea here, because I don't want to come out of lockdown and have nothing.
I want to have I always said I'd have a podcast, but now I always said I'd have a YouTube channel. And I think I'm hand on heart, yet to find someone that I've reached out to who have said no. I've reached out to 25 to 50 people. We're now booked out till, October, November. We're getting one a week. And it's amazing to see that from this? I think the biggest takeaway I can take from this is more people are sharing their learnings.
The most successful people have an abundance mentality. They're not takers, right? Oh, I'm going to go and get that, and then I'm going to put it in my business. You can go F yourself. I'm not going to share. I've been sharing for years, and people that I know who are local businessmen, right, and they're, successful, right? They're, oh, why do you tell everybody how to do it? Why are you sharing all the time? You're mad. Not at all. As I share, I learn. As I share, I learn. If I don't share, I'm not learning. So I'm doing it because I know it will push me to the next level, which is about coming on and doing chats like this and talking about the mistakes. Because I think, if people can take anything away from the stuff that I do, it's how you mess up and learn more. Messing up's a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing. Don't fear. There's no such thing as perfection. I mean, my good God, I often tell people the mistakes I make. They're really, yeah, absolutely. It is what it is.
So let's touch on to just a quick. I'm not going to take too much more. Let's take 12 more minutes if you have it. A little bit on mindset, because I know you've got a lot on mindset and your mentoring programs for clients.
What are your real aims and objectives, Matt, with how you deal with the guys you mentor? And in time, let's say in times like these, in times of kind of turmoil, people are being furloughed. It must be difficult.
Do you know it's I've seen two reactions. Some people have really closed off and almost let the world dictate to them their existence, their future. And they've really, really become fearful about what's going on and what's going to happen further down the line. Then I've seen a smaller group go, this is the chance. This is the opportunity. So you don't need, in the last possible way, those guys just need a few questions. They know where they're going, need a bit of support. These guys, and listen, I've been in there and I know what it's like when you're in there. It's hard to get yourself out. But actually, if you look at the difference between the two groups, a lot of it comes down to what they listen and watch, what they do, what they surround themselves with. So you could start with diet. What do you guys eat compared to what you guys eat? What do you guys drink compared to what you guys drink? What do you read compared to this? What do you listen to compared to this? Who do you talk to? Who do you watch? And if you was to do like a comparison list of things that anyone can do, choices, total choices, we've got 2 ears, 2 eyes, brain, 2 hands, etc. These guys here have the same choices as this group over here, or are making the most of this opportunity. These guys have just got something's got to flick their switch, and that's all I'll try and do. I'll try and find the switch. Some of it's just get some therapy, right? Everyone thinks therapy means you're out, you're on you're on the mental list. Not at all. The people that go and get therapy are probably the most aware of their self, right? And if self-awareness is, in my world, self-awareness is like a 10 out of 10. If you can create self-awareness to that level, you will take and conquer anything because you can learn the rest. So if you realize that you just need to talk, or a lot of the stuff is you don't know what you don't know. So what's creating those behaviors and mentalities? What's stopped you from feeling like this? What started you from going down that path? It's how people come out of those things. It's professional help's a great one, right? I've had loads of professional help over the years. Why? Because for me, it's just like a great place to talk to somebody who's not going to judge you. You can empty, you can dissolve, you can go come up with solutions. And often not over the years, Ken, I've shared stuff that I've learned from professionals and actually helped people with the context of those situations, and actually got them to realize that most of what people forget is that they only have to focus on what they can control. And if they focus on what they can control, the circles of influence, the things that you can do, the controllables, and every day, if you focus just on those things, those conversations, you're going to be a lot happier. Those choices, right? So actually, yeah, it's been an interesting time. I do feel like both are heightened. You've got some people have just thrown themselves like me right into, right, this is going to be like the opportunity to change what we're doing, the direction, right, we're going to go, you know, almost like 12-hour, 14-hour days. And then there's people that are, you know, abandoned by the world at the moment, not going, I don't know what to do. You know, I can't talk to anyone, I've got no one around me. Social media times multiplied, gone through the roof. So people are now comparing themselves probably to this group over here, looking at the people over here going, well, they're making a success of it, I'm not. And then all of that sort of stuff plays up. You know, and actually,
they're consuming more than they're creating, and it's dragging them down. That's what I find with people who are somewhat down, and you see it. They just constant consuming everything that comes in contact with them. And if they created more, they would actually feel better.
Yeah. Well, it's fear that drives people away from their dreams, right? So imagine how we would be if we were less afraid. Right? There's a book, I promoted it on one of my Facebook groups the other day. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. Really simple. Look, I mean, even I can read this book, and I'm a listener, I'm a watcher, right? It's got some fabulous quotes. I mean, Bear Grylls, right? Who doesn't love Bear Grylls? I like Bear Grylls. Love, friendship and kindness. This book speaks a universal language. And what people forget is who they are and their special talents and gifts. Everyone's got them. Everyone. You know, when the dark clouds come, keep going, right? You know, it's just some really basic stuff, but it's been so well put together. And, you know, one of the things that I encourage people to do is to find things that resonate, that help them. Videos are fantastic, but the only trouble with videos is you can look at a video, watch a great one, and then you've got the freaking news coming on in another app. And then you're back down to the you know, below the surface. But it's, for me, if you could really help everybody, what would it be? It would be to get them to see their talents, their strengths, and actually see that they are special within their own rights. And most people forget all of those things because they're so focused on everything else, everyone else, and all of the stuff they can't control or influence.
Brilliant, Matt. Well, listen, I know you're busy. That was superb. Again, love catching up. And thank you very much. Guys, if you want to find Matt's details, I'm going to leave them along with that book. Let me know what that book is, Matt. We can put that in the...
Yeah, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. I've just given a copy away. I mean, this guy's, he's on Instagram, for those who are on Instagram, Charlie Mackesy or whatever. But it's just a really cool thing. It's great if you've got kids, but it's not even for kids. I mean, for me, you know, I think people around the world just need to just invest more in themselves. There you go. That's it.
Brilliant. Matt, thank you so much. Always giving more to people. Matt's passion is about helping you clarify the answers to the questions you inspire to get, you know, to go for it. He gives you the tools you need to achieve. Guys, he spoke about it today without even me going through his full bio. So I'm going to leave Matt's details if anyone wants to reach out to him. Super mentor, great guy. And Matt, I hope you're keeping well, and I hope you get another 30 sales in the next 30 days.
Look, you take care, Ken.